The shadow behind the fence. Chapter 1. The unsettling neighborhood. I stepped out of my car and onto the cracked driveway, gazing up at the modest suburban house on Elm Street for what felt like an eternity. Chapter 2. Strange happenings. I tried to convince myself it was trespassers or my imagination running wild during late hours. Still, the shadowy figures returned each night with unblinking eyes that sent shivers down my spine. After a long day of work, I strolled home under a sky dotted with stars. Shadows danced in our lot as I approached, their movements hypnotizing yet frightening. The fence, once an innocent divider between neighbors, became the border to the unknown. A man emerged from the darkness at dusk, standing near the oak where I'd last seen movement. He was tall and gaunt like my ghostly observer. Lila's house has been haunted for decades, his raspy voice said as he passed by, disappearing into the trees without a backward glance. Lila? A neighbor had mentioned an old girl who died in the area. But surely I wasn't being stalked by her spirit? The following evening, my journal went missing and I found it on the porch with a note scrawled in pencil. Leave now while you can. Kate swore to take me out for drinks once she returned. Maybe I needed a break. I tried calling home, but no one answered. Dusk shadows crept closer when another figure appeared. Her, perched against an oak tree, eyes locked on mine. A pale, gaunt face stared at me from behind the fence with an unsettling intensity, as if watching something through my window. It was Lila or her spirit, waiting to drag me into whatever darkness I'd stumbled upon here. I left a message in response, daring her to show herself. In the morning's light, it read, "You're mine. My housemate would return soon." Perhaps she could help decode these events, but at night, they intensified. Whispers through my window when no one called, my keys missing and reappearing on the counter with a note scrawled in blood to red ink. I've been waiting. My eyes fell upon an old photograph of Lila's house. Smoke marred her face where there wasn't smoke before I ripped it down. As if sensing presence, I turned, but only my reflection stared back at me from the glass door. Shadows now moved like a living entity around the lot, tendrils stretching toward the window as though beckoning me to come closer. Kate returned home, and I recounted every sighting in hushed tones over our dinner table. Her skepticism wore thin when she glanced outside, seeing movement. Someone's trespassing, yet each night brought something new. Whispering voices that sounded like a woman crying, Lila or her killer calling my name. No one else was there. Kate and I decided to investigate the lot under moonlight. Unfamiliar laughter echoed near the oak as we approached. A girl in a white dress stepped from behind the trunk, her face pale with sunken eyes. Not a ghost I recognized, but definitely human. "You belong to me now," she rasped before fleeing into the night. That's when I saw him. Lila stood against the fence, Lila's spirit, her eyes blacker than charcoal. Whispered taunts echoed, "Run." Kate fled while I lunged for the door, but it caught fire in my hand as if from an unseen flame. Blistering pain seared my palm before she yanked me away. When the flame subsided, smoldering remains revealed a name carved into charred wood. Lila's mark. Our breaths came out ragged as I glanced at Kate, then back to the gate now engulfed in flames that would have melted metal. Shadows from hell danced around us as we scrambled for safety and distance. Chapter 3. The uninvited guest. The next evening brought a stranger with sunken eyes and a pale face, the girl from the lot. Run! They chased us both as we retreated back to our home. Only Lila's ghost caught up, her black eyes wide with a bloodthirsty hunger that chilled my blood. Shadows clawed for me while Kate screamed, but her door slammed shut just in time. A hand clamped around my wrist and yanked me toward the burning remains of Lila's gate before it crumbled to ash beneath us. In the lot, figures coalesced into a figure. Him from the fence, faceless. The girl from the oak appeared with an unnerving smile as he seized Kate and dragged her down below. I ran for my car keys. The engine coughed once, groaned to life before I sped through night streets. Lila's spirit pursued in the distance. A pale figure followed from behind. A tall man caught up at the lot's edge, both faces obscured by the darkness. The gate remained intact when it shouldn't have. So did our bodies, pinned against each other and the fence. Black eyes stared into mine, her smile twisted with an unnatural glee. An unearthly cry shattered my tranquility as I saw Lila's face flash between Kate's. He dragged us to Lila's grave, where they stood watching. The black-eyed girl whispered mine in a voice that cut the silence. I tried screaming, but no sound escaped while he ripped off my mask. We were trapped. I was dragged deeper until moonlight gave way to stars overhead as we descended into a cavern beneath Lila's old home. In the darkness, a light flickered. Their faces. Black eyes locked with mine before Kate screamed, and the last time I saw her, she was screaming. Their faces, gaunt and pale, turned toward me in an eerie chorus of grins. The black-eyed girl crouched beside me while Lila reached for my chest as he ripped off her mask, revealing a grotesque visage beneath. In that hollow cave, Kate pleaded to be spared, but the girl remained steadfast by his side, eyes aglow like embers. I was dragged toward their dark world. In a strange ritual, Lila's hands were placed upon my heart. They took turns passing me between them as I felt my life slip away in a nightmare where I realized it wasn't death. There was no end for me here, and then the darkness consumed us all. I hope you enjoyed this chapter.